Hey guys, Lou Lombardi back at you in your face to talk to you guys today about one of my favorite things ever, and that is the brown sound. No, get your mind out of the toilet, okay? Not that brown sound. Real quickly, for those of you that don't know, maybe been living under a rock, but there's a rumor, this went around for many, many years, that you could play a note. I'm making a guitar thing here, but or whatever, there's a note, a tone, whatever, that is so low and so deep that it actually causes people's bowels to automatically release. That, my friends, is just not true. There's a hilarious episode of South Park about this, but Mythbusters busted that myth, so that doesn't really exist. But there is a brown sound, and I'll explain to you exactly what it is. The brown sound that I'm here to talk to you guys about is the guitar sound that's basically invented by your friend and mine, Edward Van Halen. A lot of people don't realize that on top of being like an amazing musician, Edward is a tinkerer. He tinkers with his guitars. He tinkers with his amps. He's always, playing around, trying to come up with different ideas. He has a knowledge of electronics. He has a knowledge of mechanics. He's a smart dude. He's a creative guy, not just when it comes to playing the music, but the gear that creates the music. So Edward, in the mid-'70s, had a sound that his head was trying to get it. He knew it was based on the Marshall sound, but it was something else. It was something richer, something fuller, something kind of as if the Marshall was sort of melting or kind of on fire, was kind of, I believe, was what he was really kind of thinking. Don't quote me on that exactly, but he knew that it was based around that sound, and he knew he could get it. Putting this tube screamer in front of the amp, putting the fuzz face in front of the amp, there wasn't quite what he was looking for. So he had an idea that he could get these amps to really kind of overdrive and really kind of get to where he wanted to go if he could vary the electrical current going into the amp. So he plugged the amp into something called a variac. A variac just means variable AC. That's just short for variable AC. It's very similar to the rheostat on your, if you have a dimmer switch in your house somewhere, you got lights, you dim them. We have dimmers on these lights here, and you can dim them, and and it causes the light to dim. And when you do that, it changes the voltage going in, the current going in. When you do that to a guitar amplifier, it's something that's like kind of like not a super complicated circuit, but a more complicated circuit than a light bulb. The amp starts to react in all kind of weird ways. Basically, it's looking for certain voltages in currents that it can't get. And so it's starting to work harder. When it starts to work harder, it creates that really awesome saturated tone. Totally pure tube tone, by the way, guys. Not the kind of thing that you could really, at that time, create with pedals. So he plugged his amp in this player, and he found what he was looking for. Since then, so realizing that all that was going to do is blow up his amps, he went to, I think the guy's name was Diaz, couple of different guys that he worked with in California. Paul Gilbert's father, by the way, if you don't know who Paul Gilbert is, another great guitar player. His father modified amps, and I believe he did some for Van Halen as well. So the amps, people started, this is when they started hot rodding these amps to get that brown sound, and that's what Eddie called it. He called it the brown sound. Why did he call it the brown sound? Again, I'm dancing around the subject. Because it's similar to what happens, it's the idea of a brownout. That's really what happens. If you live anywhere where there's electrical issues and sometimes you get a brownout, that's what happens, okay? Stuff isn't getting the right voltages and stuff. It can harm equipment and everything, but if you're playing through, a 70s era Marshall, it can end up sounding really good. So the brown sound is just a brown, kind of a little brownout happening in the amplifier. So you learn something new every day. You open these emails, you never know what you're going to say. You can never know what you're going to learn. You come to my YouTube channel, you never know what you're going to learn. So, guys, thanks for hanging out, checking it out. I'm going to give you a little demonstration, though, of the brown sound. The amps today, if you buy any kind of amp that is designed for some kind of high gain, almost all of them have this. The tone is at least some nod. You can at least dial in something very, very close to that. And this Buddha Super Drive 30 definitely can get close to that. So I'm going to give you a little sample of the brown sound. an approximation of that sound. If you have Van Halen 1, 2, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, those type of records, you've really, that is really the sound of those records. Later on, Eddie, never satisfied, tinkering again and changing things around. But that, guys, is the Brown sound. There is a Brown sound, and now you know what it is. My name is Lou Lombardi. Please check out, if you're looking at this on YouTube, there's links. If you popped open one of my emails, there's links to go to my Inner Circle. So come on, hang out in my Inner Circle. The Inner Circle is super fun as we're working on my new record. Keith Hawkins now has joined me on drums. It's getting good. We're getting closer and closer and closer to banging this thing out. We talk about riffs. We talk about stuff like this all the time. I demonstrate the different ways I come up with ideas. I get you guys talking. There's a lot of really cool people in there. It's a safe place. It's a private group. So check out the link below. Guys, my name is Lou Lombardi, in case you haven't figured it out, and I'll talk to you guys really soon. Thanks for hanging out.